Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Awesome Albums with Awesome Andrew. In my previous episode, I talked about all those artists who got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2015. For fun, I decided to pick an album by one of those artists and talk about them in today's video. But who did I pick? Find out today. Although by clicking on the video, you already know who I picked, so, Anyway, here is blues guitarist Stevie Ray Vaughan's album, Texas Flood. The album was released on June 13th, 1983, and as you can see, it still has the plastic wrap on it and has 4 hit songs on it, and it's a very powerful debut album. In fact, the album peaked at number 38 on the Billboard 200, and one of the songs on there made it pretty high up on the mainstream rock tracks chart. The interesting thing about this album is that it was made in the 80s, the era of the ugly fashion statements and the glam metal, hair bands, disco came and went, and some pop world now. This album basically revived the love of blues music. I want to introduce the band, explain some history, and then jump to the music. Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble started off as a 3-man band consisting of Stevie Ray Vaughan on guitars and vocals, bassist Tommy Shannon, and drummer Chris Whipper Layton. Stevie Ray Vaughan was a very gifted guitar player who was able to play Jeff Beck songs at the age of 12. I find that very impressive. Although, I guess anybody who knows how to play is impressive. I don't know how. Anyway, after a failed attempt at Montreux, where they essentially got booed off the stage, there were a couple of musicians there who took a liking to them, one of them being Jackson Browne. Browne jammed with Double Trouble until the early morning hours, and then he offered to let them record it in his studio for free. They later agreed, went to LA, and over the Thanksgiving weekend they recorded 10 songs. The recording was heard by John Hammond, a talent scout who discovered artists like Bob Dylan and Bruce Springsteen. He presented the demo to Greg Geller, head of A&R at Epic Records, and they arranged a contract. Texas Flood was finished in 2 days. While they were at Browne's studio, they received a phone call from David Bowie, another musician who saw them perform at Montreux. He took a liking to Double Trouble, and more specifically Stevie Ray Vaughan, who wanted him to play guitar on Bowie's next album, Let's Dance, which he did, and this was a very huge stepping stone for Vaughan's career. Bowie even wanted him to go on tour with him. However, Vaughan's manager, Chelsea Milliken, didn't think that was a good idea. If he were to tour with Bowie, the tour would go until the end of the year, and he wouldn't be able to promote his own album. So, at the last minute, Milliken decided that Vaughan wasn't going, which meant that Bowie's tour manager had to throw all of Vaughan's stuff off the bus, and a very confused Vaughan had to figure out what to do next. He went back to Double Trouble to help promote Texas Flood. But fortunately, Milliken's call was a good one. At the end of '83, Texas Flood made gold in the US, which meant it sold over 500,000 copies. Not bad for a first album. But I think I spent long enough talking about the history. Let's talk about the main reason you're here, and that's for the music. Although blues and similar roots were far from the hit pop songs at the time, except for maybe George Thorogood and maybe a few others, Vaughan got some exposure on MTV via an honest low-key performance video of Love Struck Baby, shot at the band's Austin, Texas home turf at the Rome Inn Bar. One of the neat things about Stevie Ray Vaughan is his clothes. Whether it's in a music video or a live concert or what, it almost looks like he belongs in a western. I mean, look at the album cover. And you probably thought I forgot to show the album cover like this. Even here it shows him the kind of clothes you'd expect, hat and all. This image of his is completely different than a whole bunch of other musicians from the 80s. You know, the girly man, the glam metal, you know those guys. Love Struck Baby was recorded on November 24th, 1982. The song was engineered and co-produced by Richard Mullen, and then in early '83, Vaughan's vocals were added at the Riverside Sound in Austin, Texas. Since the whole album was only finished in 2 days, I'm assuming the rest of the album was done in the same manner. And lastly, the music video was directed by Dale Ward. In the music video, a man is playing pool while others are relaxed. Tommy Shannon and Chris Layton come in and sit at the bar, waiting for Stevie Ray Vaughan to come in, which was their cue to follow him on stage, play the song, crowd's dancing, and then they cheer at the end. Pride and Joy. This was one of Vaughan's songs that was featured live before it was recorded. And he also got to play the song with Albert King in the album In Session, which was recorded live in 1983. Vaughan wrote this for his new girlfriend. He was inspired by their relationship. It was released as Texas Flood's first single, and it quickly put the then unknown guitarist on the map. The song is known as a classic Texas shuffle and has a 12-bar blues arrangement notated in the key of E. Although Vaughan's guitar is tuned one half slower, resulting in the sound of an E major in 4/4 time with a moderately fast tempo, Vaughan also extracts sounds from the guitar by choosing finger shapes that allow the maximum number of strings to be rang at a time. The main guitar figure features a bass line along with muted chord chops to produce a percussive-like effect. Pride and Joy is one of Vaughan's biggest hits. The song helped renew the fans' love of blues music, and it hit number 20 on the mainstream rock tracks chart, which that's what I was explaining in the intro. Texas Flood. Vaughan's title track was written by Larry Davis and Joseph Wade Scott back in 1958. Interestingly, Texas Flood is never mentioned anywhere in the lyrics. The closest is the first verse. Vaughan followed Davis's song pretty well, although he added several 12-bar sections of improvised guitar soloing, which nearly doubled length for the song, and was able to provide a showcase for his electric guitar style. And speaking of his guitar style is pretty similar to, say, Jimi Hendrix, which was one of his idols. He even got to play the guitar behind his back just like Hendrix did. How crazy is that? Vaughan's version of Texas Flood listed as Rolling Stone's 66th greatest guitar song and Digital Dream's 6th greatest guitar solo. Tell Me was written by Chester Arthur Burnett, aka Howlin' Wolf, back in 1962. The song, to me, definitely has that classic blues sound to me. It has a great catchy riff playing throughout the song too. Testify was a song written by Ronald Isley, O'Kelly Isley Jr., and Rudolph Isley of the Isley Brothers. The weirdest thing with the song is some albums, including Texas Flood, wrongly credit Testify to George Clinton and Dee Taylor. Although they wrote an unrelated Parliament song with the same name, sometimes known as I Wanna Testify, the song, or at least the Isley Brothers version, is about the practice of testifying in churches in the South to promote the Christian faith, and this song is a parody of that. Rude Mood is a blues shuffle instrumental in 4/4, which is common time and played at a challenging 264 beats a minute. The song is a takeoff of Lightnin' Hopkins' song called Hopkins Sky Hop. The song was played in several live performances, including live at Carnegie Hall and Montreux. It's neat to know there are some live versions out there where he's using an acoustic guitar instead of his Stratocaster. He's also known for taking the tempo of the song notably faster and slower than the recorded studio version. The song can almost be broken into many sections separated by each 12-bar blues progression, with most sections ending in the same fashion as the beginning riff. The song was a big song, being the B-side to Pride and Joy. It was nominated for the Grammy Award for Best Rock Instrumental Performance of 1984, but lost to Sting's Brimstone and Treacle. Mary Had a Little Lamb, the classic nursery rhyme song written by Buddy Guy. The song seems to be dedicated to Rockin' Robin, who was born on October 31st, 1982. The neat thing with Vaughan's version of the song is at the end of the song, the first 4 lines of Tisket a Tasket is heard.
Tisket, tasket, baby. A green and yellow basket. Sent a letter to my baby. On my way I passed it.
Dirty Pool was written by Stevie Ray Vaughan and Doyle Bramhall, who is a part of Stevie Ray Vaughan's brother Jimmy's band called the Nightcrawlers. Notice the song is a little bit softer, slower drum beat, but what's interesting is the strumming of the guitar is a lot faster. It's a very interesting combination, really. Remember the girlfriend I mentioned in Pride and Joy? Well, an argument with her led to the song I'm Crying. Man, just listening to these lyrics make me want to join in on the crying. Let's move on to the next song. Maybe it'll be a little bit happier. Lenny is the final track on the album. The song is played at 4/4 time and notated in the key of E major, but with the instruments tuned down half a step. It's played very slowly and freely, with Vaughan alternating between jazz-inflected chords and solo runs. The style of the song is influenced by Jimi Hendrix ballads like Little Wing and Angel, and is played quite often during live shows. The song was written and dedicated to Stevie's wife Lenora, who was also named Lenny. Lenora once said that she's never listened to the song without crying. Man, more crying. Vaughan played most of the song on his Stratocaster named Lenny. The guitar was given to him by his wife and some friends for his birthday. And that concludes this album. To recap, this album revived the love of blues music, and I can definitely see why. It is a very powerful album, and it's even more impressive that it's a debut album. This has been Awesome Andrew of Awesome Albums, telling you why Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble's album Texas Flood is an awesome album, and I will see you guys next time.